Okay, children, pay attention. Yesterday, we had done. Okay, we began our chapter with nationalism, emergence of nationalism in our country. Then gradually we had done about condition of the during the World War. What was the condition of India during the World War? Okay, it had become very bad, and under all such dire conditions, such difficult condition, what had happened, our leader had emerged with a novel method of fighting. Okay, then we had done what did he mean by satyagraha, that why it is not passive but it is very much active. Then we had done about Rowlatt Act and Rowlatt Satyagraha. Actually, all the events are chained into each other, they all are linked together, and you have to learn them like that only. Okay, and if you learn them like that, it will be easy for you all. Okay, the Rowlatt Satyagraha was not successful, it had turned violent also, and it was also limited to towns and cities also, not to the countryside. And as we all know that India was a country which was which was having a large number of people living in the villages. So it was very important to include the people who are living in the villages. That is why Mahatma Gandhi thought that he should launch a very widespread movement which involves the entire country India. Okay, that was the time when Turkey was also suffering because of the defeat in the World War, and it was the post of Khalifa, which was supposed to be the highest post of Muslim religious leader, that was supposed to be abolished. So Khilafat committees were set up everywhere all over the world, and similarly in our country also Khilafat committee was set up. Mahatma Gandhi combined his non-cooperation movement with Khilafat movement. Initially there was a lot of tussle. Gradually it was agreed that they are going to launch what non-cooperation Khilafat movement. Is that clear? Then we had done the four groups, different groups, how they interpreted non-cooperation movement. Now we are coming towards our second movement, that is civil disobedience movement, children. Okay, in your civil disobedience movement, it is again linked to your non-cooperation movement only. Let us see how. 1922. By 1922, non-cooperation movement had almost coming to an end. Why it was coming to an end? Because one reason was very strong over here, that was it was turning violent. This was also the time when Chora Chori incident had taken place in Gorakhpur, where the peaceful satyagrahis were marching and they were fired upon by the police, and then they burned the entire that chowki only, that police post only. Seeing this violence spreading everywhere, Mahatma Gandhi once again decided to call off this movement. Is that clear? Okay, so non-cooperation movement was called off. Now, in the Congress, there was some kind of what you say misunderstanding in the sense that there were a number of leaders who were tired of this chaos, that is every time they are going on strike, every time they are doing hartal, and every time the government is repressing them, then the government is further putting more restrictions on them, so on. So they were not wanting to go into all this kind of violence or agitations or protests, but they were wanting that we should participate in the forthcoming council's election. As per Government of India Act, that there were supposed to be provincial councils elections. Provincial, the word provincial over here means state assemblies elections. Is that clear? Because earlier they were called as provinces. Okay, so people had decided, these big leaders, they had decided that they are supposed to participate in this provincial elections. However, there was again a range of young leaders also in the Congress. C.R. Das, Motilal Nehru, father of Jawaharlal Nehru, he was there. Plus, Jawaharlal Nehru was also there, Subhash Chandra was also there, Lokmanya Tilak was also there. There were many young leaders also over there. These young leaders, they were not wanting to have anything to do with the British government. They were radicals, they were extremists, you can say. And the other leaders, C.R. Das, Motilal Nehru, they were supposed to be moderates. Is that clear? There is a difference between moderates and extremists. Moderate is who doesn't want to revolt. Extremist can go to any extent. Revolutionary is something different. Bhagat Singh was a revolutionary. He revolted against the government. Okay, and these Subhash Chandra Bose, they were, you can say, they were radicals or they were extremists who can go to disobeying the government rules and regulations to any extent. Revolutionary, they can revolt against the Britishers. Okay, so this is the difference. There was a number of young leaders now, Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, Lokmanya Tilak. They said that they do not want to participate or they do not want to cooperate with the Britishers. Okay, so there was this kind of turmoil, this kind of tussle, this kind of disagreement in the Congress party. In between this kind of disagreement, two development took place in the entire world. Chirayu, pay attention to what I speak. Afterward, you may read as many times as you want. Okay. There were two developments which took place in the entire world. One was the Great Economic Depression of 1929, which started showing its colors by 1926. Okay, prices started falling down one by one, and by the 1929, the farmers were not able to either export or nobody was buying their product also. So it became very difficult for the farmers to pay the taxes. So the entire countryside in our country also was in turmoil. Actually, this Great Economic Depression began in America. It originated in America. From America, it spread to the entire world, and it was because of overproduction. When you overproduce, then you expect more prices. But when the production is more as compared, supply is more as compared to demand, the prices fall. And many of the producers, they were not wanting to reduce their profit by reducing their prices. So they were not ready to sell their product. They were ready to keep their product into store. They were ready to feed this product to the animals, but they were not ready to sell at lower prices. Because of this, economic depression happened. This is also the time when our economy also under Great Depression. There are no jobs for the people. There is difficulties everywhere. Okay, business has been disrupted of the people. This huge malls they have created, but they are not having any income. Okay, so this is also the time when we can see the impact of Galaxy 8B. I will not admit you. I don't know this Ayush Yadav how many times he is going to enter. Okay, so this was one condition which had developed in our country. Is that clear? Secondly, British government, they were not happy with the kind of condition, with the kind of political upheavals which was taking place in our country. Up and down. Say, for example, Congress was again agitating. Some were wanting to cooperate, some were not wanting to cooperate with everyone. So British government, they had set up an statutory commission. Statutory commission means a legal commission. Okay, to look up into the constitutional system and to suggest certain reforms and certain rules and regulations under one head, and this head was called as John Simon. Okay, and this commission was called as Simon Commission because it was headed by Simon Commission. Meanwhile, one thing I have forgotten to tell you, that there were certain leaders, the moderates like C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru. They had formed their own party, and they were wanting Swaraj Party, and they were wanting to participate in the provincial councils elections. Okay, so this was the kind of thing, that is Simon Commission was being set up to look into the internal matters of our country. Okay, 1928 Simon Commission came to Bombay. Okay, Gateway of India, and it was welcomed, or it was being protested by everybody. Everybody was holding black flags, and they said, go back Simon, go back Simon. Because one thing by now had happened was this, that Congress party had become quite important, and it said that Indians are able to understand the problems of Indian in much far better. So they should be included in the Simon Commission, but Indians were not there. No Indian was there in Simon Commission, so they protested that we are not going to obey any rules and regulation which is being suggested by Simon Commission. Is that clear? So there was some kind of, again, disagreement and chaos in the country. Lord Irwin was the viceroy of our country, and seeing all this kind of condition, he suggested two things. First, he suggested a roundtable conference in London, and secondly, he suggested a dominion status, that is somehow in near future we are going to give Indians more representation as compared to the British officials. Okay, dominion status means this: we are going to rule, but more Indians will be there in the legislative assemblies as well as Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, whatever. Is that clear, children? Okay, so this was being done by Lord Irwin. But now the command of the Congress party was under young leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru. And 1929, in December, Congress sessions took place in Lahore. Okay, and it was decided, they said that we are not going to have anything to do with with whatever the suggestion the government is going to do, and they did not even participate in the first roundtable conference which was suggested by Lord Irwin. Is that clear? Okay. They, yes or no? Thumbs up, all of you children. Good. Okay. So younger leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, they stress for more radical mass agitation for full independence. Is that clear? Okay. And they were not at all satisfied with all this. So it was decided in Lahore session in December 1929. Jawaharlal Nehru, he became the president of INC, Indian National Congress, and Lahore session took place, and it was decided that the coming 26th January they are going to celebrate Independence Day all over the country and demand for Poon Swaraj, complete independence. Okay. Then coming 26th January it was celebrated. That is why children, in your 9th class you have seen that 26th January is a Republic Day. Our constitution was implemented on this particular day. Why? Because this was a special day before independence. It was our Independence Day before independence. Right children? Okay, so this has happened. So it was declared that 26 January 1930 would be celebrated as the Independence Day, but this Independence Day did not attract much fervor, much patriotism, much attention. And now Mahatma Gandhi decided that he has to find something very concrete to gain independence rather than abstract idea of this nationalism and this movement. He has to find something which was very concrete, which is very solid, and that is why he took another step. Okay, now we are going to study about the Salt March and the civil disobedience movement. Okay, what had happened? Gandhiji found salt as a very important, powerful symbol to unite the nation. On 31st January 1930, he put forth an ultimatum to Lord Viceroy, which was in this ultimatum was having 11 demands. 11 demands, and this 11 demands was of different groups, peasants also, then industrialists also, then workers also. The motive behind this was this, that they wanted to include more and more people into this national movement, okay, into this civil disobedience movement. So they had put a number of demands, and these demands, some of them were general and some were specific, particular. Among all these demands, the most stirring demand was abolishment of taxes on salt, because as per Gandhiji, salt was something which was consumed both by rich as well as poor in the same quantity. Is that clear? And tax on salt plus government monopoly to produce salt. Monopoly means only government has the right to produce salt. Indians are not going to have the right to produce salt. This, as per Gandhiji, showed the most oppressive face of the British government. Right, children? Okay. So he thought that he is going to launch a salt march. And he also, this ultimatum also stated that by 11th of March, if these demands are not fulfilled, he is going to undertake a salt march, and they are going to launch the civil disobedience movement. Is that clear? Nothing like that happened. Lord Irwin was not ready to negotiate at all. Okay, so he was unwilling to negotiate. So Mahatma Gandhi, along with 78 of his volunteers, he took the march from his Gandhi ashram to Dandi, a coastal town which was 240 miles away. Every day they used to travel 10 kilometers every day, and this went on till 24 days. Wherever Gandhiji met, he sat down with the people and he told them what he meant by Swaraj, what he meant by Satyagraha and all that. 6th April, he reached Dandi. He violated the salt law, and this was the beginning, and started manufacturing salt by boiling the sea water at Dandi. The moment this was being done, this initiated the civil disobedience movement, and everywhere there was chaos. People refused to obey all kind of rules and regulations. Children, why NCM and why? What is the difference between NCM and CDM? NCM means not cooperating with the Britishers. And CDM means disobeying the rules and regulations of the Britishers, of the country. Okay, civil means law. civil disobedience, non-cooperation movement. Is that clear? Not cooperating with the Britishers, not obeying the rules and regulations of the Britishers. As soon as this movement began, thousands of people, they refused cooperation with the Britishers. Not only they refused cooperation, NCM to tha hi, but CDM also came. They also broke laws. Thousands of them, they manufactured salt. They demonstrated in front of government buildings. They demonstrated in front of government factories. Foreign cloth was boycotted. Liquor shops were picketed. Peasants refused to pay chowkidari taxes or any kind of revenue. Village officials, they resigned. Forest people, they revolted everywhere and they disobeyed the forest rules and regulations and entered into reserve forest also. Now, colonial government was at a loss how to control the condition, and this it could control only by arresting the leaders one by one, and it started doing this, that is arresting the leaders one by one. Mahatma Gandhi was also arrested. Is that clear? Okay, as soon as Mahatma Gandhi was arrested, people in Sholapur, specially, particularly, they attacked the police post, railway stations, everything that symbolized British rule. Okay, meanwhile, there was one more person, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan in Peshawar. He was also called as Frontier Gandhi because he was a leader of Northwest Frontier province of Pakistan. Okay, and he was a very what do you say, a very great disciple of Mahatma Gandhi. He believed in Mahatma Gandhi a lot. In fact, he was also given Bharat Ratna. He had come from Pakistan to India on wheelchair when he was given this Bharat Ratna somewhere in 2000. Okay, so he was called as Frontier Gandhi, and he was protesting, he was carrying out this movement in Peshawar. He was arrested. People everywhere, when they heard that their great leaders are arrested, they came on the roads. Okay, frightened government, the government got very much frightened and it responded by brutal repression. Okay, peaceful satyagrahis were attacked, women and children were beaten very badly. More than 1 lakh of people were arrested and put into the jail. जेल भरो आंदोलन जिसको बोलते हैं वो चल रहा था. People were arrested. Now, seeing all this kind of violence as well as arrest as well as beating, Mahatma Gandhi once again decided to call off civil disobedience movement in between. Okay, here what happened? 5th March 1931, Gandhiji and Lord Irwin suggested one condition, suggested one proposal. As per this proposal, he was ready to release all the prisoners who were not involved in any kind of violent activity, all the political prisoners who was not involved in any kind of political activity, and Mahatma Gandhi is going to participate in the second roundtable conference which was supposed to be held in London. Is that clear? Okay, so first roundtable conference, we all know nobody participated when Simon Commission had come. Remember this. Okay, December 1931, Gandhiji went to London for a conference. Okay, but it was not at all successful because in London he saw that there were different representative from Muslim party also, representative from Hindu Mahasabha also, representative from Congress also, and each of these members, we all Indians were fighting among themselves. Okay, Depressed Classes Association, Baba Rao Ambedkar was also over there. Okay, so we all were there, and these people were there, and they all kept on disagreeing with each other. Mahatma Gandhi was greatly disheartened, and then he returned to India. When he returned to India, he saw that Congress was declared illegal. There was all kind of demonstration, all kind of protest, everything was banned, any kind of association was banned. He also saw that his great right and left hands, what do you say, Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose, both were into jail. With great apprehension, that is, he was not at all decisive, and he took the step of relaunching the civil disobedience movement. Is that clear? But within 2 or 3 years, this civil disobedience movement, by 1934, this movement lost its momentum. Is that clear, children? Okay, now the next topic is how the participants saw the movement. Now, in this also we are going to study about 5 categories actually. The first category we are going to talk about is the rich farmers. The second category we are going to talk about the poor farmers. The third category we are going to talk about is the businessmen. And the fourth category we are going to talk about is the labor. And the last category is women. Okay, let me tell you all, Now your next topic is civil disobedience. Everybody knows, NCM everybody knows. What is important is how the people reacted to these movement. Okay, so first we are going to study the first group, that is how they interpreted civil disobedience movement, that is the rich farmers. Is that clear? Okay, when we talk of the rich farmers, there were rich farmers, the Patidars of Gujarat. They were called as Patidars of Gujarat as well as Jats of UP, who were very badly hit by the trade depression. अभी भी बच्चे आ रहे हैं. By the trade depression, because the prices were falling continuously and they found it impossible to pay the revenue to the government. So they thought that civil disobedience movement is the right opportunity where they can also protest against the high revenue. High revenue, okay, and they said that they are not able to pay the revenue. They supported civil disobedience movement. They even forced the reluctant members to participate in this movement and to contribute towards Congress. Congress was also wanting that they should participate. So all these people, they participated, they boycott all kind of programs. For them, the fight during the civil disobedience movement was not for India, but it was only for high revenues, which they were supposed to pay to the government. Okay, but they were deeply disappointed when this movement suddenly came to an end, and when the second time it was launched, it was relaunched, they refused to participate. This is your one category. Is that clear, children? That's all in your this. Now let us talk about poor peasantry. Everybody knows in your 9th class you have studied about 1917 Russian Revolution. Yes or no? Raise your hand. Thumbs up. Right. Russian Revolution had come somewhere in 1917. With 1917 Russian Revolution, a new form of government came into existence. That was socialism, which was not known earlier. Okay, and when this Great Depression was coming all over the world, only one country was unaffected by the Great Depression, and that was Soviet Russia. So people all over the country, they were highly impressed by this idea of socialism, that every control should be, the entire control of governing the country should be in the hands of the government. Okay, planning should be done, government should control each and everything. So what we are talking about is related, that is we are talking about the poor peasantry. The poor peasantry, when they saw the rich farmers are coming close to Congress, they were not at all they were reluctant to join Congress party, because basically they never had any land and they were oppressed by the landlords only. So when landlords were coming close to the government, they remained aloof. Okay, they found it difficult to pay their rent which they had to pay. Meanwhile, socialism was also coming up, and these farmers, they were more interested in joining those socialism kind of group rather than the Congress party. So poor peasantry as such, they were not at all interested in joining this civil disobedience movement. Is that clear, children? Okay. Then we are going to do, should we do one more thing? Rich farmers? No. Industrialist? Yes or no? Okay. Thumbs up or down? Okay, pay attention. Now we are going to do about business class. When we talk about the business class, again, we all know very well that because of the Great Depression, these people were also very badly hit. During the First World War. These traders had made a huge profit because they were supposed to supply goods for the war industries. By making uniforms, by making boots, by making belts, tents, and so on. Now they were very much keen on expanding their business. Okay, they wanted some kind of protection, and they wanted same rules for British manufacturers also as well as Indian manufacturers also. That is, there should be some kind of rupee sterling exchange ratio. Sterling is pound sterling. Pound is the currency of Britishers and ours was rupee. Remember this time, in fact, at once upon a time, rupee was much more stronger as compared to pounds. Today pound is of 85 rupees, but that time it was more or less equal only. Okay, so they were demanding this. They formed a number of associations like Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress as well as Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry in 1927. When they heard that Mahatma Gandhi is launching civil disobedience movement, they actively participated and contributed in giving financial assistance to the Congress party so that they can carry out their activity. They also saw that if not civil disobedience movement is going to become successful, their business, trade, and everything industries are going to grow without any kind of restrictions, without any kind of constraint. Okay, but when second roundtable conference failed and Gandhiji returned disheartened, and second time when he tried to relaunch the civil disobedience movement, they were again disheartened and they refused to join, just like the rich farmers. Is that clear, children? Read till here. Tomorrow we are going to start with working class and women and limitations of civil disobedience movement. Is that clear? Be on time. Okay, children. Thank you. Any problem if you have, you can ask me. I'm going to unmute you all. Yes. कुछ पूछना है? Say your name and then you may ask, children. Jitna, whatever we have done, please read it carefully. Okay, this chapter is easy as compared to your nationalism in India. Oh, sorry, Europe. And when you do nationalism in Europe, this chapter becomes easier because you are a little bit aware of what happened exactly in a country. Okay, so see you all tomorrow, 9:10. Okay.